Massive demonstrations are going on across the country. Mombasa, Nairobi, Eldoret, Kakamega, Meru, Busia, among other towns in the country. But what has shocked me is what has happened in Eldoret town. A very famous wheelbarrow symbol in the middle of Eldoret town has been brought down by the protesters. Let's have a look at the story as captured by TV47 Digital. Protesters on Thursday, June 2024 morning demolished the UDA party symbols in Eldoret town as the anti-finance bill protests continued to gain momentum. The wheelbarrow UDA symbol erected during the 2022 elections had remained standing for months but was pulled down by angry residents in Eldoret town. This was after protesters, mostly young and clad in black, took to the streets of Eldoret, chanting "Reject Finance Bill" slogans and carrying placards with messages against the finance bill. They argued that the government had failed to listen to their concerns and that the bill was a clear example of this neglect. It continues. They marched through the streets, blocking roads and disrupting business activities. Many shops remained closed as the protesters took over the streets for several hours with police watching over them. The demolition of the UDA symbols was seen as a bold statement by the protesters who felt that the government had failed to deliver on its promises. The symbols, once a symbol of hope and unity, had become a reminder of the government's perceived failures. The protests, which have been ongoing for several days, have seen thousands of Kenyans take to the streets across the country. And you are seeing now that UDA wheelbarrow symbol being brought down. Looking at that occurrence, it reminded me what happened in Baghdad, Iraq on the 9th April 2003, about 20 years ago, when the statue of Saddam Hussein was being brought down as Iraqi civilians chanted to hell with the dictator. And again, it brings to mind this English idiom, the straw that broke the camel's back. Small but routine actions accumulatively leads to a major impact. And it's actually true that small errors by Ruto's government in the under 2 years are accumulatively leading to serious anger among Kenyans. I want us to dig deep into all this for Kenyans to understand what all this means. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe in order not to miss our next analysis. Let's proceed. Let's put all that into perspective. Kenyans across the country, irrespective of ethnic or political party affiliations, are coming out on the streets to demonstrate. And they are doing that on their own without the mobilization or help of the politicians. They are doing that on their own. That confirms times are changing, and if William Ruto does not change his mentality, if he still thinks he's dealing with the old generation, then he will be in for a very, very rude shock. Looking at what happened today, I'm very much confident and sure that if William Ruto does not make a U-turn on how he's running his government, then we are going to see more of such actions happening today. Kenyans are tired of Ruto, and they've been very patient giving William Ruto time to deliver. But Ruto, instead of delivering, he's making more and more blunders. Kenyans have been patient. If you look at these Kenyans demonstrating, they are doing it very peacefully. But in the coming days, if Ruto's government does not listen to them, these demonstrations will most definitely turn violent. They are actually acquiring a life of their own. So it's either William Ruto act in good time or he be prepared for the worst. I don't think the demonstrations will be peaceful forever. If the government fails to listen, most definitely the demonstrations will turn violent, just as we have witnessed in other countries. And again, are people driven revolutions or actions are always very effective. Very, very effective. Just some months ago, we saw that happening in Senegal, where the government used a lot of force on the opposition leaders, even imprisoning the opposition leaders in Senegal. But the government was not able to contain the people. The people continued rebelling against the government, and eventually they defeated the government at the ballot. That's exactly what I'm seeing here. If Ruto does not change, if these leaders supporting Ruto don't change, then most definitely they will be in for a very rude shock. And just as we did see in Iraq, when Saddam Hussein's statue was being brought down, the bringing down of the Oda wheelbarrow party symbol, I can compare that to this bringing down of the Oda wheelbarrow party symbol. If Ruto does not act in good time, then we might be heading there. That's something coming out very clearly. As I conclude, looking on how MPs have been debating on the finance bill, it's almost certain that the Kenya Kwanza legislators, together with the opposition rebel legislators, they will support that bill. And just as I've been saying here, if Kenyans hate Ruto, they should equally hate the leaders supporting him, the members of parliament, senators, governors, MCs. These are the people helping Ruto in oppressing Kenyans. So Kenyans, as they channel their hate and anger on Ruto, they should equally channel all that energy, anger, and hate on these MPs, governors, senators who are supporting him. Let me stop it there, ladies and gentlemen. If you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give the video a like. Those watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give the video a like. Thank you. God bless you.